Are you one of the 98% of Americans who are potassium deficient? Here's what happens to your body when you don't get enough potassium. Why do we even need it in the first place? And how to restore your potassium levels naturally. We will cover these and more. Let's start with what the symptoms of potassium deficiency are. Constipation. Potassium is a mineral that helps transmit signals from the brain and regulate muscle contractions. When potassium levels are low, it can affect the muscles and the intestines, making it difficult for them to contract and move food through the digestive tract. This can lead to constipation. In medical terms, this is called paralytic ileus, which is a temporary paralysis of the intestine muscles. Paralytic ileus is often accompanied by bloating and gas. Severe potassium deficiency, also known as hypokalemia, is a common electrolyte disturbance, especially in hospitalized patients. In some cases, it can be a medical emergency. If you are experiencing constipation, it is important to make sure that your potassium levels are normal. You can do this by eating potassium-rich foods, such as bananas, oranges, cantaloupe, potatoes, and spinach. You can also talk to your doctor about taking potassium supplements. Do you have tingling or numbness in your hands and feet? Does it happen after you've been in a certain position for a time? Potassium is an important mineral that helps regulate the electrical activity of the nerves. It does this by balancing the amount of positively charged ions, cations, and negatively charged ions, anions, in the fluid surrounding the nerves. When potassium levels are low, the balance of cations and anions is disrupted, which can interfere with the transmission of nerve signals. The nerves in your hands and feet are responsible for sending signals to your brain about how they are feeling. When these signals are disrupted, you may experience tingling or numbness in your hands and feet. The tingling is caused by the nerves firing incorrectly, which can make them feel like they are asleep. The tingling is usually temporary and goes away on its own once the potassium levels are restored. However, if the tingling is persistent or severe, it could be a sign of a more serious medical condition. If you have tingling in your hands and feet, it is important to see a doctor to get your potassium levels checked and to rule out other possible causes. Have you been feeling heart palpitations often? Low potassium levels can cause frequent heart palpitations. Potassium is a mineral that helps regulate the electrical activity of the heart. When potassium levels are low, it can interfere with the electrical signals that control the heart's rhythm, leading to palpitations. Potassium intake is vital for regulating your heart rhythm. Potassium is a mineral that helps regulate the electrical activity of the heart. It does this by balancing the amount of positively charged ions and negatively charged ions in the fluid surrounding the heart. When potassium levels are low, the balance of cations and anions is disrupted, which can interfere with the electrical signals that control the heart's rhythm. In some cases, potassium deficiency can become chronic and may lead to a very serious cardiovascular issue called arrhythmia. This is a term known for an irregular heartbeat which can be dangerous and life-threatening in some cases. Do you often make visits to the bathroom? Potassium is a mineral that helps regulate the amount of water in your body by balancing the amount of sodium and chloride in your blood. When potassium levels are low, it can disrupt this balance, which can lead to your body trying to get rid of excess water by making you urinate more often. Potassium also helps regulate the contractions of your muscles, including the muscles in your bladder. When potassium levels are low, it can weaken these contractions, which can also make you urinate more often. When your bladder feels full most of the time, and the urge to empty it does increase. This is known as polyuria. The kidneys help with polyuria by filtering waste products from the blood and excreting them in the urine. When the kidneys are not functioning properly, they may not be able to filter out all of the waste products, which can lead to polyuria. The kidneys also help to regulate the amount of water in the body. When the kidneys are not functioning properly, they may not be able to retain water as well, which can also lead to polyuria. In addition, the The kidneys produce a hormone called antidiuretic hormone, ADH, which helps to regulate the amount of water that is excreted in the urine. When the kidneys are not working properly, they may not be able to produce enough ADH, which can also lead to polyuria. Do you often feel fatigued? Potassium is an important mineral that helps regulate muscle contractions and nerve signals. When potassium levels are low, it can affect muscle contractions and nerve signals, which can lead to fatigue. Potassium is an electrolyte that helps regulate the electrical activity of the cells in your body. When potassium levels are low, it can disrupt the electrical signals that control muscle contractions and nerve signals. This can lead to fatigue, as well as muscle weakness. Potassium also helps regulate the amount of water in the body. When potassium levels are low, it can cause the body to retain water, which can also lead to fatigue. This is because the body has to work harder to pump the extra water around. Now let's cover how you can replenish your potassium reserves. Avoid excessive sweating, which can deplete potassium levels. If you are sweating a lot, such as during exercise or hot weather, it is important to replace the fluids and electrolytes that you lose. You can do this by drinking plenty of fluids, such as water, sports drinks, or coconut water. Eat a healthy diet that includes plenty of potassium-rich foods. Some good sources of potassium include the below, and we have also included the amount of potassium they contain to make it easier for you. Bananas. One medium banana contains 422 mg of potassium. Oranges. One medium orange contains 237 mg of potassium. Cantaloupe. 1 cup of cantaloupe cubes contains 179 mg of potassium. Potatoes. One medium baked potato with skin contains 950 mg of potassium. Spinach. 1 cup of cooked spinach contains 836 mg of potassium. Yogurt. 1 cup of plain yogurt contains 575 mg of potassium. Tofu. 1 block of tofu, 14 ounces, contains 600 mg of potassium. Beans. 1 cup of cooked beans contains 450 mg of potassium. Lentils. 1 cup of cooked lentils contains 620 mg of potassium. Salmon. 3 ounces of cooked salmon contains 328 mg of potassium. Coffee and tea can be helpful in increasing your potassium intake. A 1 cup serving of brewed coffee contains 160 mg of potassium, while a 1 cup serving of black tea contains 116 mg of potassium. However, it is important to note that the potassium content of coffee and tea can vary depending on the brewing method and the brand. For example, instant coffee tends to have less potassium than brewed coffee. If you are trying to increase your potassium intake, it is a good idea to drink coffee and tea in moderation and to eat a variety of other potassium-rich foods as well. If you feel you have any of the symptoms listed, your best course of action is to see your doctor who can evaluate what is happening and what you need to do next. Do you have any signs of potassium deficiency? Let us know in the comments section below. Until next time, take good care of your health. Thanks for watching.